Today, we're going to be doing something very, very cool. I decided that I was going to do an AI competition with me against Claude. So for the race this weekend in Silverstone, we have the sprint and we have the actual race on Sunday. I'm going to be doing a 1v1 against Claude to see if AI knows more than me. If I lose this weekend, I will be putting up a wall of shame and I will be on it, along with some of my other viewers who have made some abysmal takes in the past. If I win this weekend, you have to subscribe. Those are the rules. I don't make the rules. That's just the way it goes. So let's get right into the predictions and we're gonna see who does better this weekend. Claude thought that George Russell was going to win this race. Mercedes has been the best team in 2026. And even with Hamilton's Spanish Grand Prix, Claude doesn't think that's enough. The momentum for George Russell in the last race is enough to give him the edge. Claude is not beating me on this one. Claude ain't beating me today. The big GR is not winning the Silverstone Grand Prix. It's not going to happen. Kimi Antonelli is going first. Kimi Antonelli is going to win. If it is a 1-2, it's going to be Antonelli on top. I think Antonelli is the better driver right now. I think he's got a better handle on the car. And as long as he can keep it on the track, he'll be good. Now, let's get to the P2 prediction because Claude predicted that Kimi Antonelli would finish second. Now, this is also a good prediction, kind of the same general idea as what he was talking about with George Russell. It was Mercedes is a dominant car, the weather's cooperating, there's not going to be mechanical issues. However, he thinks that George is riding more momentum, so he thinks George is going to finish ahead of Kimi Antonelli. Now, I am actually going to predict that Max Verstappen finishes P2 this weekend. We saw Max have a very splendid race last week. We saw him have some good pace. Even against George Russell, we saw him have good pace. Now, I don't think he catches Antonelli, and I think Antonelli goes flying, but I think Max finishes P2. Very similar to how Monaco qualifying happened, but I think that Max will actually be able to convert on the P2. For P3, Claude predicted that Max Verstappen would get third. Claude still thinks that the Mercedes 1-2 is the way to go. Claude doesn't think it's going to be close enough to Mercedes, and that's why Verstappen is P3. I'm going to pick Lewis Hamilton to be P3 this weekend. I'm not feeling George Russell this weekend, guys. I'm not feeling it. I don't know what's going on with him, but I don't think he keeps this momentum going. So I don't think he finishes on the podium, which is a bold prediction in itself. But I'm going with Lewis Hamilton in P3. I think he's going to have some good pace. I think that the Ferrari engineers will help him out a little bit this week. And I think he'll do just enough to get P3. So then I decided that I wanted to go head-to-head with Claude for the unique prediction, the bold prediction, and the DNF prediction, because these are always fun to do as well, on top of the sprint race winner. Let's go with the unique prediction first. Claude predicted that Hamilton would set the fastest lap of the race, but not finish in the podium. I think that this is definitely possible. I don't think he's going to have a faster lap than Kimi Antonelli or George Russell or Max Verstappen. But if he does, then Claude gets this point. However, a unique prediction for this weekend is that Charles Leclerc's streak of bad driving and bad luck will continue for another week. I think, and this is only for the main race, I think that both McLarens will finish ahead of Charles Leclerc. Now for the bold prediction, I asked Claude for the boldest prediction that he could come up with. And Claude said that neither Mercedes takes pole and that Max Verstappen breaks the streak and puts Red Bull on top for Saturday's qualifying session. Hey, he stole my boldest prediction, okay? He stole my boldest prediction right there. I think that's a great prediction from Claude. This might be a bullseye, like perfect shot. I like this prediction a ton from Claude. This was very, very good. My bold prediction is that George Russell does not qualify in the top 2 in either race. So in the sprint and in the race, I don't think he finishes in the top 2. I think he actually will finish P3 in the sprint, and then we'll see from there. I think Antonelli will finish in the top 2 for both races. So that is my bold prediction. You know, one practice session is extremely good because as we know, and what we've kind of seen from some of the drivers, is that Antonelli has the pace, gets in the car, doesn't need a practice session, is good on the pace, on it immediately. George Russell needs a little bit of warm up. So he gets one practice session, that's it. I don't think he's going to be able to handle it. I don't care how much Silverstone is a commonality for these drivers. I don't care how many hundreds of thousands of laps these guys have driven. It's still tough when you have a different car in a different setup. George Russell's need for a warm-up is just not going to help him when he needs it most going around this track. The DNF prediction from Claude. This was pretty good, actually. Claude predicted that Sergio Perez would DNF due to mechanical failure. Not a lap 1 crisis, but a mechanical failure. I like this prediction, definitely one that you could make for sure. I'm actually going to predict that Valtteri Bottas is going to DNF this weekend. Again, the logic here is the Cadillac is a little bit unreliable at the moment, especially after what we saw last week. However, I actually don't think Sergio Perez is going to be the one to go down this week. I think it's going to be Valtteri Bottas. That's what we got. And for the final prediction of the day, the sprint race winner. Claude once again picks George Russell, thinks George Russell is going to have a perfect weekend. I have Max Verstappen winning the sprint race. That is my prediction. Let's see just what happens in the race, and let's see who is the better predictor. It's either me or Claude, and you guys know the stakes. We got a lot riding on this. Remember, you got to subscribe if I'm more right than Claude. So just the way it goes. Sorry, guys. Just, you got to do it. I didn't make the rules. Make sure to watch the race. Make sure to tune in next week when I do a reaction video, and I'll see you all in the next one.